Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
He threatened to call Governor Whitmer, and that's not all. We're getting a brand new look at video of the arrest of State Rep Joelle Jones.
Children as young as 2 years old are now required to wear a mask in Michigan. A tall order for sure. We're going to see how it went on day one.
He says he doesn't belong on the ballot. One of Mayor Duggan's opponents files a legal challenge aiming to put the brakes on the mayor's bid for re-election. But let's start here at 5 with breaking news off the top. Michigan is indeed going to lose a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. Data from the 2020 census shows that Michigan's population grew by 2% over the last decade, and that's not enough to keep the state from losing a congressional seat.
As of April 1st, 2020, the state population of Michigan was at more than 10,077,000, up from the 2010 count of 9,883,000. U.S. population growth slowed last decade to its second lowest rate in the nation's history. Now to that legal challenge aiming to block Mayor Duggan from the primary ballot.
Filed by an opponent in that election, Anthony Adams, and it's all over a campaign disclosure that dates back to 2018. We bring in Mara McDonald following this. It's not the first time, Mara, certainly, that the mayor's eligibility has been challenged.
That's for sure, Devin. But as you know, this is campaign 101 kind of stuff. After everybody files for office, you have your staffers go through your opponent's filings and try and see if there's anything that could possibly kick them off the ballot. Well, that's what we've got right now. Let me show you. Anthony Adams, who was a deputy mayor under Kwame Kilpatrick, is currently running for mayor of Detroit, and it's his campaign which has found that Duggan's failed to file an addendum to a campaign finance report.
I'm very confident that he will be removed from the ballot, and he will once again have to try to mount a run-in campaign.
The campaign finance report dates back to 2018, and while the required report was filed, the clerk asked for clarification on some contributions, thus an addendum, which has not been filed.
So we believe we've done the right thing, and we just see this as an attempt to not have to face Mayor Duggan. And
it will be up to Janice Winfrey and the Detroit Election Commission to determine where this challenge goes from here.
Whether he's on the ballot or not, I still intend to raise a vigorous campaign to become mayor of the city of Detroit.
We are absolutely at campaign silly season, but it's to be expected, and we're ready for it. And at the end of the day, Detroiters will have a choice on who they think should lead the city.
Back here live after a quick call to some attorneys who specialize in election law, I can tell you that they all said the same thing. They don't see this challenge really going anywhere, but let's see what happens with Clerk Winfrey and at the Wayne County Clerk's office as well. We're live downtown tonight at the Spirit of Detroit. I'm Mara McDonald. Back to you.
Okay, Mara. Now to positive signs in the COVID-19 numbers from the weekend. 6,524 new cases over 2 days. That averages out to 3,262 cases per day. But we do have to keep in mind testing numbers are normally lower during the weekend. Unfortunately, 35 more Michiganders, though, lost their lives to the virus over that same 2-day time period.
And with COVID numbers showing signs of leveling off, one of the state's tough new restrictions went into place starting today.
Children as young as 2 years old must wear masks in public, and that includes inside daycares as well as preschools. And as the mother of a 2-year-old, I can tell you this is no easy feat at all. Priya Mann set out to see how things went on day one.
Since last year, a Canton nursery has had kids wearing masks when they come in and out of the building or when they're in common areas. Well, today, kids were wearing masks all day except when they were napping or eating.
So I don't really think this was a big deal for a lot of the kids.
The director of Real Life Nursery School in Canton says day one of the state's mask mandate for kids aged 2 to 4 didn't have any hiccups.
Today was actually a pretty good day. I went around to all the classrooms, noticed the kids all had their masks on, and I go, good job, boys and girls. Give yourself high five.
Dr. Hanan El-Salani is a mom of 4 and owns Serenity Pediatrics in Bloomfield Hills. She says, like anything, it took some time for her youngest to get used to wearing a mask.
So in the beginning, it was a challenge. I'm not going to lie. It was just new and different for a 3-year-old. It's challenging to have a mask on.
She has some simple tips for parents.
First one is just leading by example. I always say that they can role play as well. so they can try it on their dolls or their superheroes or their dinosaurs. The other thing is glam it up a little bit, make the mask interesting.
The most important thing is that the mask is comfortable.
So if they're complaining about it behind their ears, or find something that's really comfortable and compatible, and then let them practice with it as well.
She says there's no literature or studies that say wearing masks at a young age will induce fear or panic. That depends on your delivery.
If they're like, wear this mask or your friends will die, that's going to, imply something very, very different than, hey, look, buddy, this is what everyone's doing, and this is what we have to do to keep everyone safe.
In Canton, I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
Okay, Priya. Well, tonight we're getting a fresh look at police dash camera video of the arrest of State Rep Jewel Jones.
In it, you can see Jones refused to hand over his ID and then threatens to call Governor Whitmer several times. Victor Williams takes us step-by-step through the video. He's got a new report tonight detailing what allegedly happened before and after the initial arrest. Victor?
Well, it's been several weeks since State Representative Jewel Jones found himself in some hot water with the law. Now we're taking a look at all of the stages and angles of his arrest.
I think we met up in Harlan a year ago.
I don't care about Harlan. I want you to talk to me, baby. After that, let me go home.
Dashcam footage shows what happened moments after State Representative Jewel Jones crashed his car into a ditch, allegedly while under the influence of alcohol.
All right, black, y'all put me before.
Two officers wrestle with the representative, taking him down to the ground, an exchange that will result in Jones being charged with resisting arrest. It's said that police had to use pepper spray and a taser to get the representative under control. That's when officers insist Jones said, quote, "It's not going to be good for you. I'll run y'all budget, bro," end quote. It was said that a loaded handgun was found in a cup holder and that the representative, along with this female passenger, had their pants down when the accident happened. Footage was provided showing the 26-year-old representative in the backseat of the patrol car.
I work for y'all, man. I try to do for y'all, and y'all harass me all the time. I don't know.
In the video, Jones could be heard instructing officers to call Joe, likely the name of Colonel Joe Gasper, the head of the Michigan State Police.
Call Joe, wake him up, tell Joe who you have, tell Joe who you have handcuffed, okay? Let him know that I would like to go home.
According to the report, Jones refused to take a breathalyzer test, but a lab test shows his blood alcohol content was 0.19, twice the legal limit. And back in 2018, Representative Jones was also charged with the misdemeanor of having an open container of alcohol in his car. Those charges, however, were later dropped. Victor Williams, Local 4.
All right, Victor. Well, not too bad out today. A little cool, especially when you compare it to what's on tap for tomorrow.
I cannot believe it. Let's get over to Bennett because we're in for a real taste of summer here.
You're not kidding, guys. In fact, it all gets warmer from here. This is the coolest high temperature we'll have to deal with for the next 7 days, believe it or not. And it's 55, so as you mentioned, not terrible, but it is below average. A lot colder in the north zone where we're at 40 in Sandusky, but all the warm air is hanging out down here to our southwest. 81 in Lafayette, see 81 out in Davenport, Rockford at 82, and yes, we're getting there tomorrow. But first things first, we're going to see our low temperature happen at midnight tonight, and then we'll likely see those temperatures start rising overnight, waking up to the 50s, and then we're in record territory in the afternoon. We'll see how close we get to that mark. Rain becomes likely midweek and could be some thunder thrown in there for good measure. But the temperatures will be the story, and we'll show you all the glorious numbers in just a few minutes.
Okay, Ben. Troy-based Flagstar is acquired by New York Community Bank Corp in a $2.6 billion deal. The all-stock deal is expected to close by year's end. Of course, that's pending shareholder and regulatory approvals. Troy would become the regional headquarters. The bank's primary headquarters would be on Long Island in New York. Once the purchase is completed, the company will have more than $87 billion in assets and 394 branches in 9 states. There is a new tug-of-war emerging tonight between Mayor Duggan's office and the Detroit Charter Commission.
The Charter Commission is proposing sweeping changes to the city, including things like caps on water rates and specific spending requirements. The mayor's office says the money just isn't there to pay for it if the charter is adopted. We bring in Rod Maloney. Rod, the mayor says this would spiral the city deep into debt.
Right, and you know, that's the thing. You know, we see the Charter Commission revisions come every 4 years, and it can be contentious. But this time the mayor is saying, look, if we do this, we're going to be stepping back in time in a very bad way.
Charter as proposed, would mean a $2 billion deficit in the city budget. It'll send us straight back to state oversight and bankruptcy.
Mayor McDuggan launching the first salvo over the new Charter Commission revisions submitted to the governor's office.
Put in things like free sidewalks, free buses, free internet, $2 billion in expenses and no way to pay for them. This is how Detroit got in the mess it was in.
As you might expect, that's not how the commission sees it. Nicole Small is the vice chairperson.
So I don't really know what he's reading, to be honest with you. I don't know where this number is coming from.
The commission started working on revisions in 2018 and scurried to make the submission deadline. She tells Local 4 this is number one on the citizens' concern list.
We want to ensure that we have more safeguards in the charter to increase transparency and accountability.
She cites the land bank, property acquisition. The commission wants income-based water bills and mental health exams for police officers. And
it's quite evident that Detroiters need to increase their standards. A lot of tax subsidies going to multimillionaires and billionaires, and there aren't any real substantive benefits coming back to the community.
You got a charter where everybody who had an idea, everything got put in and nobody ever worried about what it was going to cost.
And so now it's up to the governor to decide what she reads in there, whether she thinks it's either legal or not, or what changes might be made. But there is the distinct possibility this could end up on a ballot someday in the future. And so obviously this is not the last we're going to hear of this. Reporting live, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
Okay, Rod. Well, we are off and running here on a Monday. Let's check in with Grant Herms.
She lost her entire family to a drunk driver. Coming up, meet the woman helping to push through 2 new bills in Congress to hope that it doesn't happen to another family.
Is it safe to get vaccinated soon after having surgery? And how long are you supposed to leave the Band-Aid on after you're shot? I'm Dr. Frank McGeorge. Ahead, I'm answering those questions and more about the vaccines.
All right, Frank, but first, the U.S. Supreme Court set to take up a major gun rights case. The latest on that next.